Hallo und herzlich willkommen zu einem neuen Video hier auf dem Kanal von Rethink Peer-to-Peer-Kredite. Mein Name ist Danny. In dem heutigen Video gibt es den zweiten Teil bzw. das zweite Interview meiner Baltikum-Reise 2019. Ich habe mit Simona Girokonten gesprochen, ihres Zeichens P2P-Plattform-Lead bei dem Anbieter Viainvest. Bevor es mit dem Interview losgeht, kurz noch ein paar kleine Dinge in eigener Sache. Nummer 1, es gibt keine Untertitel für das Video-Interview. Allerdings habe ich auf meinem Blog die wichtigsten Aussagen aus dem Gespräch auf Deutsch übersetzt. Wer sich also lieber eine etwas kürzere Version des Interviews durchlesen möchte, der kann gerne auf dem Blog vorbeischauen. Nummer 2, Timestamps findet ihr unten in der Videobeschreibung. Das heißt, wenn euch auch nur bestimmte Themenkomplexe interessieren, könnt ihr dort ganz entspannt zu den einzelnen Stellen skippen. Und Nummer 3, es gibt auch ein Gewinnspiel, und zwar verlost Viainvest 5-mal ein Startguthaben von jeweils 50 € für Neuinvestoren. Alles, was ihr dafür machen müsst, ist euch über den Link unten in der Videobeschreibung bei Viainvest anzumelden und dann einen Kommentar entweder auf meinem Blog bzw. unter diesem Video hinterlassen, warum ihr euch gerne bei Viainvest anmelden wollt, warum ihr auch auf der Plattform investieren wollt, welche Motivation dahinter steht, wie euch das Video gefällt, und dazu bräuchte ich auch nochmal die Investorennummer. Wie ihr die findet, das seht ihr hier in dem eingeblendeten Video. Einfach auf Add Funds bzw. Mittel hinzufügen klicken. Und dort bei den Überweisungsdetails findet ihr eure Investorennummer. Bei mir persönlich ist es so, dass ich ebenfalls sehr stark von Viainvest nicht nur durch das Interview, sondern auch schon in den Wochen davor sehr stark überzeugt gewesen bin und deswegen mich ebenfalls dazu entschlossen habe, seit April mit 2000 € auf der Plattform mit dabei zu sein. Warum, welche Gründe mich dabei besonders motiviert haben und warum ich Viainvest für einen sehr stabilen und soliden Business Case halte, dazu gibt es dann mehr im Video nächste Woche. Das soll es mit der Vorrede gewesen sein. Jetzt wünsche ich dir viel Spaß beim Interview. Hello and welcome everybody to another interview here during my Baltics trip 2019. I'm joined here today with Simona Girokonten.
Yes, hi.
Hi. She is the P2P platform lead of Viainvest and also the PR and communications manager for the entire Via SMS group. Yeah. Thanks for having me today and jumping in spontaneously, because we kind of scheduled with Eduards the interview, but very happy that you welcome me and also take the time to answer my questions.
Yeah, welcome. We're happy to have you.
Today I would like to talk with you about Viainvest, but obviously also the Via SMS group, because they're both basically crucial parts belonging together, and Viainvest is more or less the lending segment of the entire Via SMS group. So we will discuss just both topics, the P2P lending platform on one side, but also the developments, let's say, on a bigger scale of the entire group. But before we start into it, maybe, probably a few established P2P investors have seen you already through one or the other video or the interview. Can you share, please, a couple information about yourself, about your personal background, maybe a few notes people probably don't know before you started with Viainvest and the group?
Yeah, sure. So I have joined Via SMS group almost 3 years ago. Seems like a really lot. And initially I started to work here as a PR and marketing communications manager, and my main task at that time was to launch Viainvest, because the product was ready and the company was ready to go public with it. So I was hired to help with the launch in terms of PR. But then as I worked really closely with the customer support and also developed this customer communication strategy, I kind of got deeper and deeper and really felt in love with the platform, as I also am a huge supporter of P2P investments. And then it kind of came to the point where we, together with the board, we decided that I could be the one who can help Viainvest to grow and lead all the operational things daily. So yes, currently I'm here and managing customer support, PR, development things, and so on. And prior joining Viainvest Group, I was actually working for government. We have this investment and development agency of Latvia that is focusing on attracting foreign investments. So I was there helping with the establishing new companies, helping startups, fostering innovation, and so on. So my experience varies from very governmental to very fintech. And in terms of education, I have a master's degree in international relations and economics, and currently I'm also studying another master's degree for PR management. Yeah, so this is it.
Very busy, I guess.
Yeah.
Are you Latvian?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So you're also coming from Riga, or?
No, not really. Actually, I come from another city called Reizekne. It's located in the other part of Latvia, but I have been living in Riga for like 10 years or more. So feel like...
Feels like home
yeah.
now. Okay. And now you're obviously the P2P platform lead. What does that mean? What kind of tasks does that include?
Oh, Jesus, everything. Well, my main duty, so to say, is leading the customer support department, because Viainvest has always been really open to investors in terms of communication. We try to implement really personal approach to every investor. So customer support goes hand in hand with the PR and communicating with our publishers and investor community. And then we have this development part where we constantly think about improving user experience and building better platform and adding new things. So this is also on me. And basically, yeah, this is the main thing that we are doing here. And of course, I would like to say a big thanks to my team, because usually all the platform developments come when we have these brainstorm sessions and everything. So everyone here, including customer support, they're really involved in building platform, not only doing some small part of the support or anything.
Okay. One of the questions that I always like to ask, if the people are also personally invested into where they work, how is that with you? Do you have your own Viainvest portfolio?
Yeah, I most certainly do. And as I mentioned, I'm a huge advocate of P2P lending, and I'm trying to spread this idea among my friends and family and so on. And actually, my first P2P experience was even before I joined Viainvest Group, because, as I mentioned, I was working for government and working with startups, and I really wanted to try all the new fintech products that come from Latvia, and there was this one huge platform also present in the market right now, and I'm still investing there, and of course in Viainvest, because I truly believe in our product.
Is there also any other lenders that you invest some funds, just for observation reason, obviously?
Of course, I have tried majority of platforms just to spy on them. No, I'm really interested in user experience, how different platforms approach these things. So when I have an idea about something new we could implement here, I always do this market research by registering in every single platform and testing all the things, so I can kind of combine the best practice and build something good.
Maybe do you want to share like which P2P lender beside Viainvest you feel like provides a good user experience?
Well, personally, I think that Mintos is doing a really great job, and then I would say Crowdestor, the platform that works with the different startup and other products, they are also really good guys. So I would probably say that these two platforms, among, of course, Viainvest, are also great.
Yeah, okay. Then I would like to switch a bit more to understanding better like the core, the mothership surrounding Viainvest, the Viainvest Group. What I really liked, also preparing for this interview, I really think the Viainvest Group website, the corporate website, is very, up to date, I would say.
Thank you.
you can get a very good understanding about, you know, what the product portfolio is all about. And Viainvest, that's, I think, what most people need to understand, is just obviously one part of it.
Yeah.
So mainly the group is structured in different sections. It's divided into loans, into cards, savings, and investments. And
Yes.
the last one obviously goes then to Viainvest. Can you maybe, in your own simple terms, describe what Via SMS Group is doing exactly, and maybe provide some insight, some statistics to the overall group, say like numbers of employees, status of the group, and just, you know, a few things that you would consider being worth knowing about the group?
Yeah, so we like to call ourselves alternative finance service provider, and I think to the core we actually are. Our main business, of course, remains consumer lending, and with this service we are present in 6 markets across Europe. But within the 2 last years, or maybe 3, we are really been working hard to expand our product portfolio, and we have also entered the fields that we are not really confident with, but felt like we have to challenge ourselves, and then we can get some great results. For example, digital payments. And right now we are growing really rapidly, and I can say that across Europe currently we have more than 220 employees. And here in Riga office we have based a majority of core team, that is risks, finance, product development, marketing, development, and probably here we have more than like 110 people. And in terms of numbers, I can say that Viainvest Group did really well last year. We ended the year with more than 24 million of revenue. That was by the 24% more than last year, and I think it's pretty great result for us, taking into account really some difficult times in lending business that was related to legislative changes in some countries. But we managed to be flexible and then to get on with everything. So yeah, currently we own 13 brands, and all of them are growing pretty fast and developing fast. So we have a lot to do.
And the revenue is obviously the one element, but how much effectively, you know, after, you know, what have been the earnings, let's say considering also taxes before, after, did you make a profit already, or? Yes,
group is profitable every year since, I guess, a couple of years before. For the exact number, probably I should look at the financial report, but I can say 100% that we are profitable, and we are doing really good.
Okay. Then you mentioned already you're currently operating in 6 different markets. Let me have a look and name them. So Latvia, that's where you started, obviously.
Yeah.
Sweden, Czech Republic, Spain, Poland, and Romania. Now we will talk about very soon about the loans. Is there something that people should know? Why is it particular those markets that you find it so appealing, you know, for short-term consumer loans that you issue in those countries?
Well, I would say that initially when we entered these markets there was probably some advantage in terms of legal environment, but as probably lending insiders have observed across time, this legal environment in all the lending countries we represent has been challenging enough, especially within the last year. So I would say that by now our competitive advantage in these markets is the knowledge, and we have researched our consumer behavior and have researched everything that relates to the sales. So I think we feel really confident and strong in these markets, and I think the group will definitely continue the work as we have started it.
Is it in those particular countries, you said it was like a learning curve, and probably the legal perspective worked more in your advantage at first. Do you feel like still it's better than probably compared to other European countries, so you're better off applying your services in those markets?
Well, it's actually hard to say without looking at particular market research or something, but I can say that European market is pretty competitive in terms of consumer lending, so that's why we feel pretty strong in these particular markets, as we have the experience and knowledge and some know-how that we have developed over the time. But I cannot say for sure that these markets are better or worse in comparison. It just depends on the capabilities of the company.
Okay, and how, because you mentioned now the legal aspect, how does the group respond to legal changes, you know, like, because I feel like legislation is, you know, obviously different in each and every European country. How are you set up as a company to, you know, make sure that you adapt very quickly in time without, you know, let's say, diminishing the business that you have in those markets?
Well, over these years, we have learned to be really flexible, because in terms of consumer lending, the laws change pretty fast, especially in Latvia, and sometimes you cannot even you cannot know what to expect and what can change within a month. So we have various products, and we have had really great experiments with serving customers in different ways and modifying our products. So this is what you must do when you're in lending business. You must be flexible. So there's no other chance to survive.
Yeah, but do you have like a legal team for each let's say loan originator entity, or one separate one for the group that deals with all the legal adjustments? Or
we have a main legal team here in the Riga office that is covering all the group issues, but in each country we have our legal advisor that is working closely with the bigger team, and then working on all these issues. Of course, sometimes we need help from external legal advisors, because the regulatory part is very essential in the lending business, so we do not want to miss anything.
Yeah, okay. Last question in that regard. What I come across sometimes with other P2P lending companies, they say, we're looking to work also very close with the regulators, you know, and establish a legal framework that strengthens on one side the interests of the investor for the borrower, but at the same time doesn't crop the growth, you know, basically of the companies. So how are you kind of actively discuss with regulators? Maybe for Latvia you can say, but also in other markets?
Well, we are trying to be present in all these discussions, and to express our opinion and work closely with the regulators. For example, in Latvia, the Consumer Rights Protection Center is closely monitoring every lending company, and we are always really happy to receive their feedback on, for example, loan agreements or some new legal things that we are planning to implement. And it's not like we are doing things without any advice from the regulators. And we have always believed that working closely with regulators can benefit both them and us, and not only put some restriction on us. So that's why we are open for discussion and for cooperation.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, then let's now I would like to single out a particular market, which is the Romanian one.
Yeah.
Doing some research about what Viainvest is up to these days, there was an interesting post on LinkedIn. It was by Georgis Krasovickis.
Yes, he's one of the board members.
One of the board members, also one of the shareholders, I read.
Yeah.
And he posted on LinkedIn, the current situation in Romanian lending market has proved to be challenging enough, but I'm sure with such team everything is achievable. So maybe for you, can you say, like, because it's, I think, also the last market that you added to the group.
Yes.
What is the current challenges in the Romanian market for Viainvest and the group?
Yes. So a few weeks ago, we have this very uncertain situation with the Romanian market, because there was this legislative act proposed that kind of suggested very dramatical cuts for the interest rates on consumer loans. But luckily, last week we received the news that this legislative act was dismissed, so we can continue our development as it was planned. But then when Georgis posted this post, he probably was thinking about an emergency plan, what we will do and how we will adjust to this.
Yeah.
But yeah, everything's fine by now.
Well, I also like this because obviously sometimes those difficulties happen behind closed doors.
Sure.
And to me it was very interesting also to observe that these days companies also share the difficulties that they face in current business, because I think it shows like they have struggles and challenges just like every other business, and there's either a way of maintaining that within yourself, within the corporate, and not making it visible, but at the same time it's I think also quite it shows a nice visibility, that there's difficulties, you work on them, and eventually they're resolved. So I really like the kind of communication that was.
I mean, we have always been. We're trying to be transparent and talk about things that we have right now and what we are planning and what struggles we have. So I think this is just another proof that we are not hiding any problems or difficult situations, but trying to make a public discussion around it and just then kind of receive some support from our customers and so on. So I also just value this positively.
Talking about the borrower markets, is there any new markets that you target at the moment?
Viainvest Group is constantly looking for new challenges and for new markets, but particularly I'm not able to name any particular country. So let's see what the future brings.
So you look more to, let's say, deepen your market share that you have in the already existing markets? Yeah,
well, that's always a priority, to strengthen our position in existing markets and kind of constantly rebuild the work with the customers just to give them better experience. So entering other markets is like the second priority maybe, but right now we are not considering any markets.
Okay. When you look at the different entities of Viainvest Group, and let's say the different sections, the loan originators, mostly the loans that you issue are characterized by three elements: short-term, 30 days, buyback guarantee, and mostly very small range between 500 to 3,000 euro. How do you, because I saw also on the corporate website, it was, you can see the landing page, how you can apply for a loan, but how do you promote, how do you advertise your service in each country? Because obviously just having a website probably will not be enough. How do you find, let's point out the credible or trustworthy, but how do you find borrowers in general?
Well, I would
How do they find you?
Well, it of course depends on the specifics of each market, but in general I would say that the majority part of sales is enhanced by digital marketing. We have really strong team here in Riga that is constantly working with every country and revising digital strategies almost every week. So this may be the huge channel for us. Of course, here in Latvia, we also practice traditional marketing things like outside banners and TV commercials and sponsoring sports events and so on. We lately have been involved with our hockey team, so we are about the hockey and everything. And but as I said, it really depends on the market and specifics, what, where and how customers are looking for these products. And of course, I must say that publishers are a really huge part of the sales, of course, too.
Okay. Then another single element, a single market that you have is the Swedish one. I think it was beginning of the year that you announced that Swedish loans are also offered on the Viainvest platform. Yeah. I looked it up. Since November 2012, you start issuing loans in Sweden. Now, obviously, we have to consider like Viainvest is on the market since December 2016. Yeah. But what I was wondering is why, like you're in a market in Sweden and obviously you have like built up a reputation over a couple of years. Viainvest takes in, and then it takes another, let's say, 3 years, more or less, before you start to offer those loans also on the marketplace. Why is that? So why does it take that long?
Listing new loan originators on the platform is purely a business decision, and it depends on our needs at that time. So we have completely rebuilt our lending product in Sweden, and that brought us a really huge demand for new loans. And that was the moment when our board decided that we want to find additional funding for this business, and so there was a decision made to list these Swedish loans on Viainvest. Until then, when there was this the old product, the short-term loan that was for a really long time present on the Swedish market, there was no need for additional funding, and we kind of kept this Swedish loans as a secret. Yeah, so, but right now, yeah, it's available for investments, and I hope that investors really enjoy the new opportunities on the platform.
How do you manage the supply and demand in general? Because maybe that comes into play in that topic. On one side, you have, because I think I also saw it on the statistics, you have loans that you have issued, and you have loans that are funded. And I think last year, I think it was 2, maybe 3 months where the loans funded was exceeding the ones that have been issued or something like that.
I think it was otherwise.
Or other way around?
Yeah, so actually this is the thing about income diversification. So Viainvest Group has always been concentrating on diversify our sources of funding, and P2P Platform is just one of them. And we, as a group, have listed our bonds on the Nasdaq Stock Exchange market. That is one part of funding that is incoming the company. Then we also have a deposits product, and of course the lending business itself that kind of is pretty capable to fund itself also. So these extra funds we usually need when we have a huge great idea about new product or some new changes we want to implement it in some market. That's how it works.
Okay. Before the video we spoke about the overall number of investors. I think you said like this month you crossed the border of 9,000 investors. And what I like, there was, I think it's an annual investor survey that you do, or was it just last year? No, it's annual, right?
Yeah.
So that was last time published in October 2017. And by far the biggest investor base, looking at it from that survey, was the German one. You said like it's like the biggest one with about 39% right now, 38, 39, followed by Spanish, which are apparently, coming very strong, and then the Latvian.
Yes.
So when I have a look, 40%, 9,000. Okay, so we have about 3,500 German investors, I would guess. Why do you think like it's so popular in the German market? Or why is the German market attracted so much for this kind of business?
Well, I think there's a huge role for German publishers and bloggers and opinion leaders that are really actively advocating for P2P lending. And as I have observed, and as I think that Germans are majority of investors on every Latvian platform. I think it's
true.
It's the trend, yeah. So, but of course, Germans have also been above average income level, and they surely have some spare funds they want to invest and save for the future. So. P2P investments in comparison with the banking savings products has always been more beneficial. So this is just logical that if they have some opinion leaders who are digging deeper for information and observing platforms and meeting platform teams and making interviews, discussions and so on, when they get this real information from the primary source and then they spread this across their community, I think it gives Germans more confidence to invest in P2P lending, and it gives like more value to it, I would say, because in Latvia we have not observed such phenomena as it is in Germany. There's a lot of bloggers that are writing about P2P lending. I would say that in Latvia, surprisingly, as a lot of platforms come from Latvia, P2P lending is not that popular as it is in Germany or maybe Spain. So yeah, this is the paradox. Interesting.
Probably need to advertise a bit more or give more.
Probably, or maybe people still do not trust the alternative finance. Maybe fintech is something new for them, as they are more used to banks and the traditional investing products or saving products. So maybe it takes time to get this knowledge and get more financial literate, so to say.
But at the same time, you have like the majority of borrowers probably taking the services. So apparently there is an awareness about this market, but they just perceive it more as a market for them to take loans rather than investing into them.
Yeah, I think that borrowers and investors are completely different segments of customers, and both of these segments have different needs. So I think that borrowers maybe not always are thinking about this, all the fintech background that a lending company has. They perceive this as maybe a usual service they can easily get online and so on.
Okay, one element in the survey, I think it was 95% of the investors have said the most valuable feature by far was the buyback guarantee. Can you explain first of all, how does the buyback guarantee work at Viainvest?
Sure. So buyback is a guarantee from a loan originator that in case of any delay from the borrower, the loan originator will repurchase the investment from the investor. So this is one tool we still use to guarantee, to give more safety to our investors and guarantee that they will have their funds back. So buyback guarantee actually works really simple. There comes the initial loan term. Investors usually invest in, let's say it's 30 days as for the usual short-term loan. And then if there is a situation of delay that borrower fails to repay his loan, then we can add more 30 days to this initial loan loan term, and then after these 30 days of delay, the loan originator repurchases the loan from the investor. So, and at the end, the investor receives both invested principal and earned interest, not only for the initial term that was 30 days, but also for the delayed period. So in total, you have like 60 days, and you have earned interest for 60 days.
Okay. Well, then obviously for the investor side, the topic seems to be gone. Okay, issue resolved, it has been bought back, but the group apparently still has an interest to, get the money back from the borrower. What happens in the background after, let's say, the loan defaults and you bought it back for the customer and for the investor? But what happens in the background? What can you say about the debt collection and recovery process that happens then in the back end?
Well, usually we have two phases of debt collection. The first phase is usually done internally. When we work with the customer, we try to offer maybe some more flexible terms of repayment or make a schedule or something. And then if this process is not successful, then we kind of hand over the borrower to maybe external debt collector or anything that we are cooperating at that moment. So yeah, there are basically two phases.
Okay, and then there's one element that we discussed also before the interview, which we'll probably add then after the video. It's because I was curious. You provided that the ratio between total issued loans and non-performing loans is about 7.2% among all loan originators, correct?
Yeah. Not only ones listed on Viainvest, but also Romania that is not currently on the platform.
Okay. And then the question would be, okay, is that how is the non-performing loans defined? Is that, does it include, is that the ratio after the debt collection process, after the recovery process, or before? And we will, after the interview, figure out then with the risk team.
Yeah, we'll get the definition from the risk manager, and then it will be certain the right definition for this, because it kind of requires attention of the financial department and risks to define this and then calculate the rate and so on.
Yeah. Because obviously, that's what I put a big emphasis on, is always the liability is away from the shoulders on one side, on the obvious side, but at the same time, I always want to have a look how financially healthy is the entire group. And when you see like there's big amounts of defaulted loans that need to be covered by the group without having them properly backed by other assets, then that could then obviously increase problems for the group and then ultimately for the investor as well. So I think that's something I always want to have a close look at it.
That's true.
Lenders on Viainvest, either private individuals or legal entities. Can you say maybe how the split is between both of them?
So the majority of investors are private individuals. I am not sure of the exact percent up to today, but it's like 90 to 10 or something.
Okay, that's a lot. And also that's for the overall number?
Yes.
And for the loan volume, because I could assume that legal entities probably invest a bit more compared to individuals, is that correct?
But then again, there's this balance, because private investors, it's a huge number of them, and they kind of balance the legal entity, the investment amount.
Because also there are some then go, obviously...
Yeah, sure, definitely. There are bigger investors and then again medium and small size, but we try to monitor everything, and if something raises our doubts, then we connect the investor, and then try to ensure where the income is coming from, and just ensure the source of the income.
That's one spontaneous question that came to my mind. I don't know if you have the answer to. What can you say the single highest amount of money that has been invested on Viainvest at any given time by an individual person? How high that was?
Well, I'm not sure if this information can be publicly revealed, but probably not. It's more like an inside information for us.
Well, the average I can see was like between 4,500. That was the average deposit.
Yeah, average deposit. I had the number for today. It's like 4,182. It's like the average deposit for today. Yeah.
Okay. Good. Then maybe the aspect of competition. You said I always find it very interesting to see it's more like a big community. A lot of P2P lenders know each other. It's a very close market. It's a close country anyway, and Riga has plenty of P2P lenders. Is the biggest competition more for P2P lenders going against the traditional banks, or do you see that there's also competition among P2P lenders fighting for the investors that already trust this alternative finance model? Or
well, I think the traditional banks are still looking for ways how to compete with both alternative finance and P2P lending, and I think that there is more obvious competition among platforms. But then again, experienced investor always diversifies his investments, so a lot of our investors are also present on many other platforms. So in terms of this, I think this is a great thing that they have many opportunities where to invest, and by this they are kind of sharing experience across platforms, and we get to hear and experience and review about other platforms, not only ourselves, so we can combine everything and think about better solution for their problems.
Okay. There's one question that was kind of getting in the way, because talking about the maximum amount of money people can or investors can invest. What Simona told me just prior to the interview, what I didn't know, but I think it's worth sharing here, that there's an AML, anti-money laundering procedure, which starts when investors invest more than 15,000 euro.
Yes.
Is it only for Viainvest, or is it in a general procedure that needs to happen on every platform?
Actually, there is an anti-money laundering law that kind of obliges these financial institutions to do this procedure, and of course every financial institution must have their own internal anti-money laundering procedure, but then again it's closely related to the overall law.
Yeah.
So I suppose all companies should do that.
Yeah, they're bound to it. Okay.
Yeah.
And which kind of information would be I don't know to which extent you can discuss this or can answer, but which kind of information will be additionally need to be provided from the lender?
Well, usually if we by the monitoring investors, if we see that some of them have reached the gap of 15,000 euros, then we contact these investors directly and just request some additional documentations that can prove the source of their income, the source of funds that are invested on Viainvest. And then with this procedure, we kind of try to prove the security and try to guarantee that we as a company are not under the risk because of the funds that are coming from unknown sources. So, yeah. Okay,
good. Yeah, we're almost at the very end. To me, going back again, sorry, I have to switch a bit between the topics here and there now, but going back to the market and the positioning, how do you personally see like Viainvest is positioned within the market of P2P lending companies?
Well, I have been really happy observing that investors usually name Viainvest as one of top 3 or top 5 platforms, and I'm really proud of it because in comparison with other well-known platforms, we are not that big and we cannot offer such a wide investment portfolio, but still that means that we are doing something right, and probably our focus on the customer support and this user experience in terms of interacting with us, and maybe this is the key point that makes investors to like us.
Okay, good answer. That was definitely a good. You see, you got the PR blood, and so it's a very good pitch. Worst case scenario, something I always like to discuss, what happens if, especially the matter of insolvency. Obviously, Viainvest itself is an entity, it's a subsidiary from the Via SMS group. We discussed it also prior to the interview, there's it's not just necessarily about let's say economic downfall, which would kind of decrease the loan performance, which is like the core of the business from the Via SMS group, but also let's say decisions by board members, financing certain parts of the business that are not healthy anymore and building up liabilities, and there's so many aspects that can come into play. It's too complex to single individual elements out, but do you have, let's say, any protection measures for the group in place that prevent this kind of worst case scenario, and how do you probably keep track of the finances and that that there's a healthy growing, because you said you're profitable, but how do you make sure you're living beyond your standards maybe?
Yeah, well, as I said, we have done a great job in diversifying our income. And this has always been the priority of the group, because we have a lot of different products, and there can arise some, risk factors in entering new market or building new product or anything. So we have these various income sources as P2P-Plattform, as our savings and deposits product, as our bonds listed on the stock exchange, and of course the lending business that is pretty capable to live by itself and finance itself. So I think that really bad scenarios are very, very unlikely. And if we speak about the economic downfall, the Viainvest Group was established during the latest economic crisis. So I think it's obvious that the consumer lending business is doing pretty well within the crisis. So I would not say that this may bring a real challenge or maybe threats to us.
Okay. Probably not to leave this interview on that kind of felt negative vibe, and let's talk about the future, which I hope and I think it will be bright for Viainvest and the ViaSMS group. You shared a small project, maybe that's something you can talk about, but just in general, what does the future look like for Viainvest on one side? What's going to happen probably this year or in the future, and also for the entire group? You mentioned already a few things to me. Maybe just share with us what the future is about for both parts.
Yes, so for ViaSMS Group, this must be a really interesting year because in a period of 1 or 2 months, we are planning to launch our digital payments platform that is called Violet. And we have been working on this product for 2 years. It's been really challenging for us because it's completely new field we are entering, but I think we are pretty proud of the result. And right now we are testing this product among our employees and hopefully it will be launched publicly like in months or so. So I think you will heard about this. And in terms of Viainvest, we have a lot of plans in making the user experience better. As I already mentioned a couple of times, this has always been our priority. And this January we kind of decided that maybe our visual outlook is a bit outdated and we could improve something in terms of design. So our guys from design department, they're currently working on the new, more fancy design, and let's see what comes out of it. And yeah, of course, we are always working on sales and attracting new investors and making their investing experience great and pleasant, and giving this added value, because when people are trusting their funds with you, it's a huge responsibility, and you cannot serve them as a random customer or something. You always need to provide this personal touch. So this is our aim as we go through any business processes. And if we speak about numbers, I would say that I hope that we will reach the 200 million funded loans this year, hopefully.
You're right now at?
We're right now, I will say, at 119 million.
Okay.
So I think it's pretty obvious that this number will come this year, and maybe not the end of the year, but a lot sooner. So let's see.
All right. I think that was it. Anything you feel like we left out? Something you want to point out again in the end, or is it?
Well,
something you want to address directly to the German investors? Well,
as I always say, we are really, really happy about investors' feedback, both that is coming from opinion leaders like you, bloggers and vloggers and everything, and also from our investors. And if you have something to say to us, don't be scared, don't worry, just reach out to us and chat with our support, and just let us know what you need and what you're expecting with investing with Viainvest, and we will try to reach out and just live up to your expectations.
All right. That was very good last words, I think. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
And yeah.
Thanks.